Vairagya, or detachment from the transient, is a central pillar of Vedantic inquiry and spiritual realization. It is not a mechanical renunciation of the world or its objects, but an inner understanding that all things perceived are subject to change, decay, and ultimately dissolution. This awareness gradually cultivates a deep indifference toward fleeting pleasures and pains. In Vibhakachudamani, Advaita emphasizes that true dispassion arises only after repeated reflection on the impermanence and futility of worldly enjoyments. The aspirant must perceive the transitory nature of not only gross sensory pleasures, but also subtle experiences like fame, power, and even the joys of the heavenly realms. This discrimination leads to the realization that none of these can offer permanent peace or satisfaction. The Bhagavad Gita supports this standpoint, especially in its teachings to Arjuna about the temporality of sensory contact and the wise person's indifference toward pleasure and pain. In the Atmabodha, Vairagya is portrayed as an essential prerequisite for self-knowledge, wherein the seeker turns the mind inward, away from objects of desire, and centers it on the Atman, the unchanging witness. The recognition that whatever can be experienced is not the self, but an object illuminated by the self, is reinforced in the Dirigdri Vibhaka, where the subject-object distinction is examined, leading to the insight that clinging to the seen is futile. Vairagya thus becomes the result of philosophical inquiry, not an externally imposed austerity, and prepares the seeker's mind for the reception of liberating knowledge. This detachment from the transient is not rooted in pessimism or despair, but in clarity and freedom. The mind of one who has developed Vairagya is no longer agitated by longing or aversion. It becomes calm, subtle, and focused, capable of perceiving the self. Such dispassion is likened to the state of a person who, having seen the inferiority of a piece of glass compared to a diamond, naturally discards the former. Similarly, the seeker who has tasted the inner joy of contemplation and discrimination loses interest in the hollow amusements of the world. The Bhagavad Gita again reinforces this by highlighting that the yogi who delights in the self, rejoices in the self, and is content in the self alone has transcended all desire. The Brahma Sutras explore this disposition as a prerequisite for the qualified student of Vedanta, stating that only the one who is detached from all results of action and desires for enjoyment he or hereafter is fit for that inquiry into Brahman. In this light, Vairagya is not simply about abstention, but about maturation. As the intellect matures through listening Rava, reflection manana, and meditation nididhai san, the individual becomes naturally dispassionate toward transient phenomena, much like a child losing interest in toys once they recognize their limitations. The Atmabodha echoes this when it says that the world appears real only so long as Brahman, the underlying substratum, is not known. With knowledge, the illusion is dispelled, and so is attachment to it. The path to such detachment, however, is oft ungradual and requires sustained inner work. Mere verbal assertion of dispassion is not enough. It must be accompanied by vigilance, introspection, and constant discrimination between the eternal and the ephemeral. In the Vibhakachudamani, it is pointed out that many speak of renunciation, but very few truly embody it. Real Vairagya, man's inner strength, and the capacity to let go of deep-rooted tendencies basin as that draw the mind outward. This is where practices such as mental drawl pratyahara, meditation, and devotion to the Guru become vital. The Dirigdri Vibhaka suggests that as long as the seer identifies with the seen, bondage continues, but when the seer recognizes itself as pure awareness, beyond all seen phenomena, detachment spontaneously arises. This shift in identity from the body-mind complex to the witnessing consciousness marks the flowering of true Vairagya. The role of the Guru, too, is crucial, for in the presence of one established in detachment and self-realization, the seeker is inspired, corrected, and guided on the subtle nuances of non-attachment. Such guidance ensures that Vairagya has not become an escapist denial, but a luminous clarity that distinguishes the real from the unreal. The Brahma Sutras confirm that only a mature and detached mind is capable of steady contemplation on Brahman, free from distractions and latent desires. Ultimately, Vairagya is not an end in itself but a gateway to self-realization. It functions as a purifier of the mind, a reducer of distractions, and a builder of inner strength. When detachment is complete, the mind turns naturally towards self-inquiry and remains there without effort. In this state, the knowledge imparted by the scriptures and the Guru no longer remains intellectual, it becomes experiential. The Bhagavad Gita describes such a person as one who is untouched by sorrow or craving, who is equanimous in success and failure, and who has become a street hit a prana firm in wisdom. The Atmabodh of all such a personage Jivan Mukta, liberated while living, for whom the world is but a play of appearances, no longer caught in the net of likes and dislikes. Such a one acts in the world without being of it. The Vivekachudamani beautifully conveys this ideal by stating that the realized person, having abandoned all identifications, rests in the Supreme Self, which is beyond name and form, beyond pleasure and pain. In such a state, detachment is not a struggle, it is the natural fragrance of freedom. The external world continues to appear, but the realized one sees it as nothing but Brahman, like waves on the ocean, not separate from it. This is the culmination of Vairagya and not merely turning away from the world, but seeing it through the lens of truth, and abiding in the formless infinite self.